What's going on there, guys, and welcome back to NBA Reloaded. There's hardly anyone in this world who's worshipped more as a star than sportsmen. They're adored by their fans all over the world. Not only the fans, but also their colleagues say great things about him if they're as good as Larry Bird. Larry Bird is an American former basketball player, coach, and executive in the National Basketball Association. Being part of the NBA is a huge deal, and when your colleagues say great things about you, it's really the cherry on top of a magnificent ice cream sundae. NBA legends explain Larry Bird's insane abilities. Let's have a look at some of them right now. Number 5, NBA's greatest of all time. Every game and team in the world has its very own star players, and the NBA is no different. When it comes to the greatest players the NBA has ever seen, the list has a few big names on there. Of course, there can't be a long list since you really have to be the best to make it to the list. 5 to 10 big names usually feature on that list. Each of these belong to a different decade, or you can say a different generation of NBA players. The list can be traced back to the 50s, so let's break it down for you guys. If we go with the earlier ones, the 50s had Bill Russell. Moving ahead to the 60s, it had Wilt Chamberlain. Following Chamberlain, the 70s saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as one of NBA's greatest players. The 80s star was Magic Johnson, followed by Michael Jordan in the 90s, and Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant graced the 2000s with their phenomenal performances. It's important to mention how Kobe Bryant left the world in 2020 in a helicopter crash after 20 years of having a successful basketball career. The basketball star of today, however, is none other than LeBron James. While all of these players rightfully make it to the list, some players are left behind and go unnoticed due to different reasons, such as lack of titles. Such players would include Tim Duncan and Charles Barkley. Now that we've mentioned such huge names, imagine them saying great things about another player. One such player that has truly earned that appreciation is none other than Larry Bird. His recognition is due to his many achievements, which all pretty much go under the radar compared to the other names we've mentioned.
Yeah, they did a great job of capturing our feelings and how we feel about one another. But
Number 4, LeBron James. It's quite clear that when successful names who have been exceptionally well in their career say words of appreciation for others, the other person must be doing exceptionally well. LeBron James himself is one of the few legends in the world of basketball. He's been kind and generous enough to speak candidly about Bird. According to LeBron James, Larry Bird was one of the few guys who won a three-point contest with a warm-up shirt on. He even recalled his 3 consecutive three-point wins. He continued on how people see Larry Bird as a jump shooter when they don't know him. According to James, he has a lot more abilities than just being a jump shooter. He added the following to Larry Bird's list of abilities. He was a passer and the average double-digit rebound. To quote LeBron James, he said that Bird was a straight-up complete basketball player. LeBron James also adapted his style to that of Larry Bird. He shifted towards the new ways of basketball. This new way refers to the charge led by the Golden State Warriors in shooting more from behind the arc. LeBron was already considered to be a big guy when he started shooting threes, clearly inspired by Bird. Back in the 80s, the legend Larry Bird had already achieved what LeBron achieved later in life. In another interview, LeBron was questioned about his top 3 favorites. To answer this, he put Larry Bird in the list along with MJ and Dr. J.
There's more when I'm just mentioning in the same breath. Since it comes up and say, listen, you.
Number 3, Shaquille O'Neal. Unlike LeBron James, Shaquille wasn't always a Larry fan. In fact, to be precise, he disliked Larry earlier. The reason to dislike him was nothing but jealousy. Yes, that's right. When you're in the same field, being competitive comes naturally to people. Too much competitiveness can often lead to jealousy. Shaq would often wonder in his dislike towards Bird that how could this regular-looking guy do everything? While this might come from a place of jealousy, it's quite clear from Shaq's statement that Larry Bird was great at basketball and there was nothing that the man couldn't do. What Shaq failed to realize is that regular-looking guys can also do great things as well. In an interview, he mentioned how he never got the chance to directly compete or play against Larry Bird, but he actually hated him. With age comes maturity, and Shaq realized this with time that Larry made his own luck when it came to shooting the ball. Shaq himself is no way a regular looking guy. Being as tall as 7 feet 1 inch, he was built to play the game to perfection. It's also quite interesting to notice that Shaq was way faster than people gave him credit for. This was true specifically for the early part of his career. He was also great at defense. Bird, on the other hand, was comparatively slow, which is also why his skills need to be appreciated even more. When it comes to basketball IQ and knowledge, Larry Bird's abilities were unmatched.
Thank you, Larry Bird. Larry Bird helped me realize that I was a pretty good player.
Number 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Unlike Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got many opportunities to play against the legend Larry Bird himself. It's also important to mention how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a 6-time NBA champion himself, so what he thinks about Larry Bird holds a lot of weight. Back in 1984, Bird defeated Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the finals. In an interview, Kareem mentioned how Larry was one of the best players he had ever played against. This depicts the great display of sportsmanship, as even after facing defeat, Kareem had the strength and will to appreciate Larry. He mentioned how people look at him and think of him as a chubby white guy who's also really slow, but in reality, he wore them all out. He then went on to give credit to his brain. He talked about the muscle between his ears, which according to him was the real game changer. Moreover, he reflected on how he made 3 points and he had assists and rebounded as well. He was also always at the right place at the right time, which further worked in his benefit. He then ended his statement with calling the best player he had the opportunity to play against. This shows how great Larry Bird is, so great that even his competitors whom he defeated couldn't help but praise him.
He was ridiculous. He came in here. I remember our sportscaster played the Superman theme.
Number 1, Charles Barkley. As we're talking about legends in the world of basketball, Charles Barkley is a name known to all. He's an 11-time All-Star player as well as a regular season MVP back in the 90s. The star player was once asked a question which he had to ponder on. He was asked if he is better than Larry Bird. Before answering the question, the man took a long pause. He gave it a lot of thought before answering it, which in itself depicts how great Larry Bird is as a player. When the question was thrown at him, he remarked how it was a great question. A typical answer to such questions by players is a quick one, and they go on to say how they think they're the best and better at the game than everyone else. This is also the mentality players need to have if they aim to get to the top. How Barkley answered the question was quite different, however. He commented on how he's the better rebounder and probably a better defender, but he went on to give credit to Larry Bird where he deserved it. He mentioned how Larry Bird is obviously a better shooter than him. He ended his answer with how people keep comparing players, but at the end of the day, it's teamwork. While some think that deep down Charles knew Larry is better than him at the game, they feel that he didn't want to outright admit it. However, it can also be seen that Barkley is quite a humble player and still a great one.
Bird didn't talk trash to you,
Oh
did he?
my God, Bird talk trash to everybody.
For more such videos, do be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest updates and notifications. Thank you and bye for now.